As many of you who watch my channel frequently know, it's difficult for me to even go a single video without mentioning one of my favorite games and semi-RPGs of all time, Prey. It's not only the greatest immersive sim game ever made, but also came from a studio that no longer exists. First of all, the introduction to this title is without exaggeration the most fascinating and jaw-dropping I have ever seen in a video game, and immediately sets the stage for all the mind-bending twists to come. But even outside of how cool the introduction is, which I won't spoil here, the real genius of Prey lies in its gameplay, design, and world. From the ground up, every single environment you walk into is oozing with personality and lore, with multiple terminals or notes you can access that give you hints as to what exactly happened on this abandoned space station hurtling above Earth, and even beyond that, the design of each space is so immaculate too. Every single location in the game has multiple entrances and secret passageways, with a huge variety of interesting solutions you can use to either get around, fight enemies, or solve puzzles. A perfect example of this is how you can use the first weapon you get, the glue cannon, to not only freeze enemies in place for easy kills, but also to form makeshift bridges to hard to reach locations, all the way to putting out fires that would otherwise kill you. And when you combine that with truly riveting storytelling and narrative, which is only revealed to you slowly piece by piece, you are left with a psychological thriller of sorts, not only because of its narrative themes, but because of how the title makes you think to overcome problems. And on top of this, there's a robust upgrade system in the game that can radically change how you play, giving you powers that you have never seen in any other game that let you solve puzzles in extremely unique ways. It really is one of the most underrated games in history, and one that I highly recommend you give a shot regardless of what games you're into, but especially if you love RPGs and immersive sims. In fact, maybe even more underrated and potentially better than the base game itself is the Mooncrash DLC that almost no one bought, but quite literally revolutionizes the entire genre with new gameplay mechanics and the implementation of time. It was essentially Deathloop before Deathloop was ever released, and somehow miles better despite being created by the same company years before. And while it is once again something I will speak little on in fear of spoiling it for you, trust me when I say that beating this DLC along with the main game will instantly put Prey into a pantheon of one of your favorite games ever, if not the single best. Because sometimes the best RPGs don't have to be hyper-focused on skill checks, dialogue, deep builds, or choice and consequence, but rather just providing the player with a complete sense of freedom to play the way they want, with a full host of systems and ideas that come together in such an amazing way that you can't help but appreciate what an achievement it really all is.